What is up, everybody? It is All here back from the video. In today's video, guys, we are going through week 2 of the 30,000 gold challenge. This week was absolutely ludicrous. You're about to see why, how much gold we farmed. Spoiler alert, we might have to reevaluate the 30,000 goal for the month. So we started off the first day here and I decided, you know what? Let's make it potentially a stream marathon. And so I said, if we hit 50 subs on the day, which you can see in the bottom left over here, I said that we would do a 12-hour stream. Well, huge thank you to you guys for the support. I could not do this without you guys and not be able to make these videos and play as much as I do without you guys. So thank you so much. We obliterated the 50 sub goal within the first, I don't know, hour and a half of the stream or something like that. So we were on to a 12-hour stream, which means that I got to practice Steamvaults for 12 straight hours. In that time, we made a lot of improvements, and I even was able to figure out a way to get down our run to 13 minutes, and our current personal best for a Steamvaults run is 13 minutes and 8 seconds. In that 13 minutes and 8 seconds, we killed 82 mobs, I believe, about 73 of which were experience-giving mobs and elites, which means that our group was able to get, because we only had 2 people in there at the time, 75,000 experience from one run in 13 minutes. It was absolutely ludicrous. But we played for 12 hours, guys. I was thinking we're definitely going to get Blink Strike in 12 hours. No Blink Strike. All the gold that we made so far, guys, has been without crazy luck. The most valuable item drop that I've gotten was a design for Noble Topaz that is like 120 gold. Something like that. Living Ruby might even be more valuable than that. And I've gotten, I think, 3 Living Rubies or 4 Living Rubies. So the gold that we've made so far, guys, has purely just been the farm. No luck. And we have now officially farmed Steamvaults for 31 hours. So how much gold did we make in day 1? Well, day 1, guys, as I said before, we were going to do a 12-hour stream. And so our actual time spent in the Steamvaults ended up being about 10 hours. And over the course of those 10 hours, we were getting a ton of greens, a ton of blues, a ton of chests, and we started really leveraging those, elemental Sephorium charges, I think they're called, to be able to open up as many chests as possible. Each of the chests in this dungeon, guys, have the potential of giving a Living Ruby and potentially an Epic, but they average out to about 20 gold a chest. So if you guys are doing this farm, definitely pick up the elemental Sephorium charge. I could potentially increase the gold output of this farm. I'm not sure if it would necessarily increase it based on the time by mining. There's a lot of mines I'm skipping every single time. So if you guys want to do this yourself, it may be worth leveling up mining. I personally have not leveled up mining on either of my mages yet because I didn't want to give up tailoring and I didn't want to give up the other one that I can't remember right now that I have on the other mage. But if you guys want to do that, it might be a good option. Skinning. I think it's skinning. It might be a good option because the amount of adamant ore that I just pass up and fel iron ore that I just pass up as we go through this farm is pretty wild. At the end of the first day, though, we had to go into the Paladin and disenchant everything. We have 2.5 pages full of greens and blues to disenchant that we've gotten over the course of this one day alone. Each of these greens is giving, on average, around 8 gold, I would say. And the blues are giving 20 gold. It's ludicrous, guys, the amount of items that we were able to farm in this one day. And so by the end of day 1, factoring everything, we made 9,575 gold in 12 hours. 10 hours of which were inside the instance. We weren't boosting 3 people at all times. But in 10 hours of actually running the instance, we made 9,575 gold. Absolutely insane. And we already got, just one day after week 1, up to 18,908 gold. After that long stream, farming all that gold, we took the next day off and then we were back at it 2 days later. So 2 days after the 12-hour stream with more farming. Now this is going to be our raid night, and so it's going to be a long stream. Regardless, we had about 6 hours inside the instance farming, though, to make as much gold as we could as well. And then we went over into Nax, farm Nax, and then the next day would have Gruul and Mags. So same kind of farm, guys. Nothing too crazy dropped, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about it. But it was another great day of farming. We didn't have a full group the entirety of the day. We were helping Bola level up his mage. One thing to note, though, guys, when you are doing this farm, if you are getting into it, those mobs right there could potentially silence you And then when you come out of the block on this third pool, and just obliterate you. And so an easy way to get around that silence and to not have that happen as much is just to make sure that the back mage, the mage that's going, to run up and try to blizzard right here, gets there as quickly as possible. Because if he takes a while, what could happen is that you could be forced to come out of the block before the mobs actually drop aggro. The only consistent way that I've been able to find to avoid that silence is to basically not come out of my ice block on the top until the mobs turn their head and face the other direction. Then they're not focusing at me and they're not going to smack me the second that I come out of that block. So if you guys are having issues with that, I ended up dying 4 times in a row once because of that. Typically it happens once every like 10 runs or something, but that might be able to help you guys if you're running into that issue. After a long day of farming though, and after Kara, not Nax, we decided to go ahead and actually make things go into Excel now. And so what we're going to do is we're actually going to keep track of everything in Excel. This is going to let me keep track of how many Coilfang armaments I have, arcane dust, large prismatic shards over the period of time that we're doing. And so we can better keep track of everything and kind of more visually see the gold progression that we're making. But it was a pretty good day of farming. Definitely not the 12-hour stream. And we were typically boosting 2 people at once. So we weren't going to make as much money, but we still made a pretty solid amount of gold. How much gold? Well, after the second day of the week, which is day 6 overall, we were at 23,448 gold, guys. 6 days, 24,000 pretty much gold. Absolutely ludicrous. I'm also stocking up any of frost resist, nature resist potentially, and fire resist potentially, depending on how good the gear is and if it's plate or leather. I am holding. So I'm also not disenchanting those as well at the time. I think I'm going to try to sell those as SSC and DK come out with phase 2, which should be probably within the next month or so. At this point, guys, we are smashing this competition. We're 23,500 gold into the competition in 6 days. So I decided that I was going to take a day and I was going to hop onto some old tunes that I haven't gone on in a while yet. So Man Creek specifically. So I hopped on to my first mage that we ever made in Classic Og Mage. That was made from my very first videos, the Troll. And I decided to go back over to the good old ZG farm. I needed to pick up some of the owl gear though, and I was actually the wrong spec for the first run. So it was kind of a pain. But we went back over to ZG and started farming up ZG, running through there. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to run back through with my mage. So as far as the experience goes, guys, we were getting, what was it, about 110,000 experience per run, I believe, here. So we had 119,000 there, and by the end of the run, we had to jump off because the tigers were in a bad place. 119,000 to 176,000. So that would be 57,000 experience, so 114,000 experience per run rested if you're by yourself. I tried boosting my paladin for a little bit with this, but what I found is that the experience wasn't that great because both tunes were level 60. And so I think I'm going to get more experience if I just hold my paladin for SP, Slay Pens, and just level up my mage real quick. So I ditched the paladin, just started leveling up the mage, and then we were able to get stupid experience. And that next run, we got up to 227,000 experience. So you can see we're just flying through the experience once we left the paladin hearth out of there and stopped coming to ZG on the paladin. Ultimately, after about a level and a half on the mage, we got locked out on the mage. And so then we went back over to Pagel, and we're going to start leveling up our rogue. Now, I think it's really beneficial for you guys to have a rogue on your account. If you're doing any kind of these farms, you're going to be getting a lot of lockboxes. And they might, not be crazy good lockboxes, but it's beneficial to have a rogue. And so my rogue was at 64 and not high enough lockpicking to lockpick all of the Quarium chests that I've been getting from Steamvaults, which is not a crazy number. I have, we could see at the end of the video, but I probably have around 35 Quarium lockboxes, I would say. But that is still a really good amount of gold. That's at least 35 greens, right? And so I would highly recommend having a rogue if you guys have the time to level up one. That can open up your chest for you. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to go in Slay Pens and level up the rogue so I can open up those chests. My rogue also had a ton of rest because he had just been sitting there burning the rest. So we were able to really quickly fly through these levels. Definitely though, I do not recommend having Frostbite when you're trying to do the Slay Pen solo farm because that makes the kill phase very annoying. As you can see here, mobs in the back getting Novid. Mobs in the front get novaed. Some of the mobs in the front don't get novaed. And so it was kind of a pain to figure out, but we were able to grind through this for about 4 times to level up the rogue before we had to go over to Gruul's Lair and max for the raid. But as you can see here, guys, this is why I'm doing it. So I have 21, 24, 26 Corium lockboxes. I've already gone through all my Thorium, all my Eternium lockboxes, and so we just have those 26 Corium left. But I want to be able to open them to see what kind of gold we can get out of them. That's where we're leveling up the rogue. From this day, we didn't really make any gold. So, I mean, we made a little bit on Paygo, probably like 100 or 200. So I didn't run through and do a whole nother analysis because it was just some raw gold that I got on the mage that was helping out the rogue, but nothing crazy. But then the next day, we did what we've been working for this entire month. We bought the Paris Hilton bags. I decided that I was going to start spending some of my gold. We've amassed a lot of gold, and so I want to clear my college loans, aka my loans from Epic Flying Mount. And so I sent over the gold for the flying mount that I needed to pay off all my debts, paid off all my debts, and then we went and bought 8 gigantic bags, 4 for each of my mages, and honestly, it was 100% worth it because this next day of farming, I did not have to go bank once. I was able to stay in Steamvaults for, I think, like 4 hours straight of farming without needing to leave for the bank. At times, I did have to destroy some like fish scales and stuff like that with the junk, but these are so nice to have just for the amount of bag space that you get for these. From there, though, we were back into Steamvaults. Back into Steamvaults, you guys can see 26 hours, 51 minutes in so far, and you can see that our gold is getting pretty close to 10,000 gold just on one tune that we farmed in Steamvaults per farm log. Farm logs is add-on, by the way, up here, guys, if you're curious about it. I get a lot of questions about which add-on that is. So you can see that we're farming a ton of gold. Still no blink strikes, though. Throughout this week, we did get one more epic, but it was just a 70 gold pattern that we traded over to somebody in the group, Tika, because they wanted it for their tailoring. So no crazy loot that we've gotten yet. It's absolutely wild. But by the end of this day, guys, we had farmed Steamvaults for a total of 31 hours. In this 31st hour run, our last run, we also did set a personal best at 13 minutes, 8 seconds, 79 mobs. Absolutely ridiculous, guys, how quickly we ran through that dungeon. If you can do 13-minute runs, this farm is just absolutely ridiculous. The 1,000 gold mark per hour that I've set is based on a 17-minute run. So it's ludicrous the amount of gold that you can make. And then after tallying everything up from week 2, guys, we are at 27,570 gold made. In this week, we farmed 18,000 gold over the course of roughly about 20 hours of farming in Steamvaults. Ludicrous, absolutely ludicrous. During those times too, we did not always have full groups. And so we did not reach, the maximum potential. A lot of people don't know about the Steamvaults farm or see it in trade, but might not want to get it yet because they don't know what it can do. So we didn't have full groups the entire time. As such, I decided to up the ante, guys, and we're going to be going for 50,000 gold in this week, or in this month, not in this week, God help me. In this month, we're gonna go for 50,000 gold. This next week and the week subsequent, I'm gonna be very busy on the weekends, but during the week, I'm gonna try to stream probably every single day. And this Tuesday is gonna be another one of those big potential 12-hour streams. I think we're probably gonna set it at 50 subs again. If we hit those, then we'll probably do another 12-hour stream, see how much gold we can make. And we're also going to be leveling up our alts at the same time. We almost have Bola up to 70, which is one of my secret missions, so that we can then boost my own alts with Bola helping me. But guys, week 2 is in the books, 27,570 gold. Almost done with the 30,000 challenge. Let's move on to the 50,000.